What the haters talking about?
What's up, family? If you have any kids nearby, you may want to bring them into the room and sit them down and allow them to watch this video. It could save their life and you a whole lot of heartache. There's a show on ABC called The Parent Test, where they put parents and children in different situations, compromising situations, and they see how they respond. In this one episode they did, there's a 12-year-old girl who accepts a profile from this 15-year-old boy. Well, someone who she thinks is a 15-year-old boy, but it's really a grown man. They talk to the mother about it, and the mother's sitting there watching it, and they're like, she accepted the profile, and she also agreed to meet the boy at a house. The mother's like, no, not my daughter. No, no way. And she sees in real time that the daughter did agree. And the daughter is on her way to go meet this 15-year-old boy. When she gets inside the house, she goes all the way upstairs. She gets inside the house, and the mother is inside the room with a mask on, and she scares her. And she's like, oh, she's scared to death. And this is the reality of meeting folks online. People catfish all the time. You don't know what you're getting. You don't know who it is. This online stuff, this social media, it is the playground for child molesters and predators. I mean, it is their number one tool that they use to entrap people. Now, the mother said to the daughter, you know, what's going on? Why did you do this? Why would you do something like this? You know, haven't I taught you any better? Have I not taught you better? And I don't know if that's even the question. I don't think, I won't say obviously, but maybe she didn't teach her any better. See, what happens oftentimes is parents will try to keep certain information away from their kids because they don't want them to know this low down, how low down and dirty and uncivilized people are in this world. And they try to keep their innocence intact for as long as possible. And they'll tell them things like, look both ways before you cross the street. They'll tell them, don't accept profiles from grown men or whatever, right? But they don't monitor them, and they don't tell them to make sure if somebody who appears to be a 15-year-old person who you don't know tries to befriend you, this is how you get proof that that person really is 15 years old. They don't give them that type of information. I'm going to tell you this, fam. I think that anytime somebody online comes at you, I think you should make them if you're really interested in them, make them FaceTime you, and you can you don't have to give them your phone number. You can FaceTime. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think you can FaceTime on like Facebook. I'm not sure if Instagram has those features, but I'm almost certain you can FaceTime on Facebook. You don't have to give up all your information. Parents too often try to be overprotective of their children. And I'm going to tell you like this straight up, fam. I don't think 4 or 5 years old is too young to start telling these kids what's really happening. Like, let them watch those crime shows. Let them see what's out there. Yeah, it might spook them a little bit. Might even make them paranoid, but you'd rather be paranoid. You'd rather they be paranoid than dead or somewhere in somebody's basement, being brutalized, being tortured, being assaulted. And even if you get them back, you'll never get them back the same. They'll never even be remotely the old person that they used to be. I know somebody that happened to not long ago. I'm talking about the girl was like star student, everything straight, real nice girl and everything. She snuck out the house, just like this girl did. Snuck out the house and defied her parents' rules. She wanted to go do her own thing. So she snuck out the house, started running with people that her parents didn't even know of. And the next thing you know, she's in the sex trafficking. They got her, just like that. You have to be right every single time. Your kid has to make the right decision every single time. The predator has to only be right once. Some people were blaming the mother, saying things like, well, girls are going to be girls and, you can't protect them from everything. That's true. You cannot protect them from everything. But I don't see where the mother could be at fault. Maybe she could have given her more information and more guidance. But, sometimes I don't care how great of a parent you are. Sometimes you just get a kid that is defiant. You have a kid that just thinks they know everything. They just don't want to follow the rules. And they just going to have to go out there and get their head knocked off. That's a reality. Now, you could look at the flip side of the coin is sometimes parents are too hard on children. They're too hard. They won't allow them to talk to anybody, let alone date, right? But I think when it's a very fine line when you're talking about girls dating. We know that we treat boys a little differently when it comes to dating than we do with girls. We're more protective of the girls, right? We understand that because, society has a different standard for girls. We want our girls to be virtuous. We got that, right? But this girl is now of an age, even though 12 is still young, she wants to date. So I think, no, you don't allow her to just start dating, right? You don't just allow her to date and just start doing whatever she want to do just because, she getting hot in the pants, But set some boundaries. Allow her to have conversations with boys. Allow them to exchange phone numbers and let the boy call her, certain hours of the day you can cut it off. After this time, you cannot talk on the phone to anybody. But, kids, by the time they're 12 years old, they're going to start having some type of attraction to other kids. And that's just what it is. Girls become attracted to boys 12 years old, around that time, hell, sometimes younger than that. But you have to have boundaries. I'm not saying you allow your 5-year-old to exchange phone numbers, but you have to have boundaries. So then they get be a certain age, maybe around 13, 14, you allow them to, go out on a date with the family, right? They get to be with their little friend, and they're being chaperoned, You can see what's happening. They're together. They're just in the same room. They don't get no alone time. You monitor these type of things. It's a little cute thing, just a killer kick it thing. They ain't doing no kissing and holding hands. They ain't doing none of that. When they get to be 14, 15, perhaps you allow them to go to a theme park with their friend or the movies, right? But with a group. Don't allow them to just go by themselves. They got to have a group. Got to be somebody kind of like looking out for each other. And I know sometimes, you get with the wrong crowd and they ain't really looking out for each other. They're looking out for the parents. You see what I'm saying? Like more like watching out for the parents. So you got to be careful of that because, you drop these kids off at the movies and they're not always at the movies. You dig what I'm saying? Maybe at 16, 17, you allow them to go out on a date by themselves to, let's say, a theater or a theme park. Here's the trick. Kids mature at different rates. You know your child better than anybody else does. So act accordingly. But you must act. All of that stuff about, oh, I ain't letting them do nothing. Oh, you ain't going nowhere. Let me tell you what's going to happen more than likely. You are going to make them sneak around. And they're going to sneak, sneak, sneak. And what happens when they sneak around is they oftentimes choose dangerous activities. They put themselves in dangerous situations, unbeknownst to you. You have no clue because they don't trust you to understand them at all. They don't trust you to not overreact. So you got to have some type of boundaries and you got to give them some type of latitude to grow. That's the trade-off in bringing children into the world. You're developing human beings, and your job is to give them the information and instructions to help them navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.
What the haters talking about?